Hi, y'all. I'm here today with Gianna Salzbrunn. She is a recent grad at Eastern Michigan University where she ran track and field. Today, she's going to share her story around mental health and how that kind of impacted her relationships around her. Sorry, they're playing. So, Gianna, thank you so much for being here and sharing your struggles with us. I think it's extremely important to talk about mental health and especially around student athletes, kind of destigmatizing it. So I really appreciate you telling your story with me today and to all the LRT sports athletes and helping the future generation.
Yeah, thank you for reaching out to me and inviting me to. I'm really excited.
Awesome. So maybe you could just start off by walking me through kind of your mental health struggles and maybe the background factors that kind of played into it.
Okay. So my mental health has kind of been an up and down in college. When I think all college athletes coming out of high school go through this their freshman year, they're a big fish in a small pond when they leave their high school, and then they come to college and everyone there is a big fish. And so it's kind of a shock, like you kind of get put down into your place, and it's a little unnerving, and it's kind of a blow to your self-esteem to see all these really strong, confident individuals when you're just like, oh my God, I have no idea what to do. Yeah. So it definitely was a blow to my confidence my freshman year, and I think that's kind of where my mental health. Oh, my cat is wanting to pop in. Um, my mental health struggles started a little bit was my freshman year coming in, and but at Eastern Michigan we have such an awesome community that I never really felt out of place. I never. Oh, here she is. Never felt like I yeah, never felt like I didn't have a place, never felt like I didn't have anyone to talk to. And I actually was very fortunate. I lived in this place called The Village at Eastern Michigan, and I lived with 6 other girls on the track team. We were all in like one unit. And so all of us were kind of going through that transition together. So when one of us was having a bad day, there was 6 other shoulders for somebody to lean on, which was awesome. And I ended up actually living with 4 of those other girls, like through all of college. So the 4 of us or 5 of us really formed a really tight bond. So that helped me out tremendously, especially freshman year.
Mhm.
Um, my sophomore year is when things started to get a little crazy in my mental health. I had started birth control, and it just totally messed up everything for me. My body was changing, my mental attitudes were changing, my performances were changing, and it was a really weird time for me. And I still hadn't recovered from that freshman year initial shock. So, so once I got down to the bottom of what was going on, at that point we had gotten a new coach. He's actually now at Stanford. He had actually left Eastern Michigan. He's at Stanford now.
Interesting.
And I felt very comfortable going to him and telling him like, hey, I'm struggling and I don't know what's going on. And he was really helpful sitting down with me and talking with me about everything that was going on, how he could help. Yeah, I mean, I just feel very fortunate that I was in a place that has such incredible resources.
Mhm.
And the thing with that coach, he's a tough love kind of guy, and that's what I needed at the time. At the time, I was like, oh my God, he's such a jerk. Like, I just he's being so hard on me, but looking back on it now, he really was looking out for me, and he really had my best intentions in mind. When he was pushing me through these things, he wasn't pushing me to like, no, just get over it, just get over it. He was pushing me through because he knew that I needed to push through myself, and so he was helping me get there. So I'm very appreciative towards that. And then, yeah, coming back my junior year, I kind of got, oh, there's my roommate. I kind of got the mentality my junior year, like, you know what? I've got 2 years of this left. I spent 2 years hating it. I love track and field. I mean, there's a reason why I wanted to do it in college. Why don't I just let myself enjoy it? So I stopped focusing on what place I took at a meet. I stopped focusing on what times that I hit or how far I jumped or whatever. And I just focused on enjoying myself and letting myself enjoy the sport. And I really enjoy hard work. I enjoy that feeling after a hard workout of like feeling like you're going to die, but you accomplished something. And so I really started living for those moments, and I started doing it for myself. Like I started to do things to prove to myself that all of this was worth it. I got another roommate popping in too. So yeah, I still was there for the team. I still wanted to contribute all my best for the team, but at the same time, I started to decide that I wanted to do it for myself and I wanted to enjoy this. So I'm going to let myself enjoy this. And then, yeah, my junior year, I had one of my best years. Everything turned around for me. It's kind of funny how when you stop trying, things start to get better, you know?
The worst. That's the worst.
Yep. So yeah, and then going into my senior year, that coach who is now at Stanford, he had left. And we were all kind of shocked, like, oh God, like now what? It's my senior year. What are we going to do? He just left. He just up and left us. Like, what are we going to do? We ended up getting a new coach who came in, and he is just awesome. He is like a ray of sunshine. Everything that he says is positivity, and you guys are awesome, and I am here for you. And I think that really made a huge difference for me personally, because it wasn't like I was vying for someone's approval. It's not like I was, oh, I need to do this, otherwise he's going to be mad at me. Like, no, we're out here. We're having a good time. We're in this together. I've got one more year left of this sport. I might as well just have some fun. And I was doing really well on the indoor season. Yeah, it's funny when you decide that you just let yourself enjoy something, it starts to get a lot better. So I think my biggest struggle with mental health was how hard I was pushing myself. I'm very critical of myself. I have very high expectations for myself. And I think those are all very good things because it holds you to a higher standard of performance and activity and stuff. But it was getting kind of unhealthy. So when I finally decided, like, all right, you've done all the hard work, you deserve to be here, let yourself enjoy it. You looked forward to college running since you were 12 years old. Like, you're finally here. Let yourself enjoy it, Gianna. So yeah, my biggest thing was stop being so hard on myself. And that made all the difference for my mental health. And I think that's what so many individuals, especially student athletes, struggle with, is like this expectation of I need to be on all the time. I need to be perfect. I need to do this. I need to do that. When you don't. Like, what you're doing is so awesome. Just appreciate the fact that you're here and appreciate yourself for being able to handle all of this stuff and do all this stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, luckily you have another year, so then you can like continue that mentality going forward. I think that's a really great mentality to have, especially
it's kind of funny. I was like preparing to close the book on 10 years of track and field and like be done with it. And I was like, all right, like, wow, I really could have done this differently. Or like, wow, I wish I had like this mentality, like at this point in the season or whatever. And now I get to do it again. Like, how lucky am I? And so I get to reflect and then redo. And people never get that opportunity. So I just consider myself extremely lucky.
Mm-hmm. How I always feel like this with some of my teammates that I've talked to or some of my fellow athletes is that kind of that feeling of being vulnerable with your teammates and your coaches, kind of not wanting to unload all your, I wouldn't say burdens, but just your own internal struggles because, you know, maybe that'll affect them negatively. Kind of how did you go about navigating when to turn to them or when to turn to other outside help?
My freshman year, when I was really going through it, freshman, sophomore year, I didn't really want to unload on anyone else because I did feel like I was being a burden and like they've got their own stuff to deal with. They don't need to deal with my stuff too. But in some regard, I realized I was being a little selfish in that because I was withdrawing from my friends and my roommates and everything. And it really took my roommates sitting me down and being like, hey, like, what's going on with you? Like, we care about you. We want to be here for you. Please talk to us. And once I realized that I have this incredible support system, that I was really able to release everything that was going on. And at Eastern Michigan, we have a sports psychologist who is just phenomenal. And so I went and talked to her a couple of times. And yeah, I just feel really lucky that we have that resource available at Eastern. But yeah, I mean, and on the other side, just the people at Eastern Michigan are just great people. Like my teammates, my coaches, the athletic staff, I mean, even the professors, the academic staff, I have never once felt like I was alone here. Even those moments when I was like, this really sucks. Like I always knew there was someone I could go to. And that's just, I picked a great place to come and God put me in a great place. So I'm, yeah.
I mean, you're extremely lucky, right? I think a lot of student athletes that end up being happy where they are, it's like almost like a jackpot. Cause I feel like nowadays, especially like there's a lot of factors that go into having like dealing with mental health. It's not just, your performance or where you end up. It's kind of internal too.
Yeah,
I'm really glad and really happy to hear that it all worked out for you and you get another year.
I know.
Um,
I'm so excited.
yeah, it's so exciting. I'm a rising senior, so it's kind of like I was on the edge of that, and so I was like,
Yeah.
but my seniors are coming back, so I'm really excited.
Oh, yay.
So lastly, I kind of read that Eastern Michigan has like a mental health initiative that they're doing around student athletes. What advice or kind of what do you see the initiative turning out to be, and how do you envision it continuing?
So I know we participate, so we're in the Mid-American Conference. The Mid-American Conference has a mental health awareness week that they do every year. And Eastern Michigan does a really great job just like blasting that across the student athlete community. They send out tons of emails. They are constantly reminding us that we have our sports psychologist on staff who is ready and willing to talk to every single one of us. Um, and yeah, I mean, the coaches themselves too, like, especially during that week, I mean, all year, but especially during that week, they're like, hey, listen, like, this stuff is hard. College sports are hard. College is hard, especially with all the stuff that you guys do on top of it too. I mean, some of these girls, they're going to school with these crazy majors like exercise science and biology and stuff. They're running track and they're working jobs and stuff. Like, it's hard to be a college kid out here. And the coaches fully understand that. And they're like, hey, we're here for you. Like, whatever you guys need, our door's always open. You guys are always welcome to come and talk to us. And not even just the track coaches. I mean, our strength coaches, our athletic trainers. It's just, it's such an awesome place because everyone is here for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So there's just so many awesome relationships across all of the different boards and communities and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think Eastern Michigan has a very strong sense of community and in turn is very supportive of their student athletes, especially their mental health.
Mm-hmm. What would you say to student athletes that maybe don't have that support system, where it's pretty common, like maybe their coach is like not that open of a person, or their teammates are a little bit more distant and they're not as close?
Yeah.
What would you say to them when they kind of need that support system? Where do they find it, or any advice you have for them dealing with it?
I get a lot of my support also from my family. I lean on them for a lot of stuff. I mean, I'm calling my mom all the time, like, oh my God, listen to this day I just had. Uh, so I think really leaning on people outside of your athletic community is a huge deal because, you know, sometimes you just need a breath of fresh air. I mean, I'm living with my roommates. I live with them. I go to class with them. I go to practice with them. I'm with them 24/7. So they're awesome. They're a great like resource to bounce feelings off of and stuff. But every once in a while you want a fresh look like outside of your community. So, I mean, I've got non-athletic friends in college who don't understand the student athlete life. They don't really get what like all the extra things that we have to do. But even so, it's so nice to just talk to them like, oh my God, I had such a bad day at practice. I'm so stressed out. And they're kind of like, so it was just practice, like get over it. And you're like, you're right. It was just a practice. I'll get over it. I'll move on. So yeah, I really would advise those kids who don't have resources within their own athletic departments to look outside. All those connections that you have outside of your athletic department are extremely valid, especially the ones that the relationships that you've formed outside of sports. They can really be beneficial.
Mm-hmm. Well, awesome, Gianna. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to talk to me about this. Allergy Sports and I greatly appreciate all the insight, and best of luck to the rest of your season. I'm so excited that you get another one.
Good luck next year.
Thank you.